Hola. Hola, bros. Literally, what the hell has time been? I haven't been here in like a month because of many reasons. One, yeah, that kind of can't explain my state of mind right now. Don't judge. You can't, because I bet you've also done that. I haven't folded that in. I'm not gonna share how much time, and that's fine. Um, Point is, I've been not struggling, but also scrambling and going through a lot in here recently. And I kind of want to talk about it because I haven't talked in a while and I really, really need to. And again, this is a topic that will always be a constant because this is something that will never, never leave us. And if you've listened to my other videos, you might have an idea as to what is that thing that never ever leaves us. And it starts with an F and ends with an ear. Drum roll. I'm stupid. It's so stupid. Fear. We're going to talk about fear today. But we're going to talk about, I kind of like narrowed down to 5 different types of fear that I've encountered and I've seen around me and I wanted to talk about. Because maybe you that you're watching, maybe you're going through one, or maybe you resonate with one, or you resonate with a few. I don't know. Fear. Wow. What a concept. Fear is something that will always be in you and you can't change. And it's the root cause of many, many emotions and concepts in the world. There's many emotions and feelings deriving from fear that I don't think we're aware of, but that's another topic for another day. But fear is something that if you don't hold by the hand and you go with it and you take it everywhere, it will drag you full force, your whole body. Fear has so much power that if you don't know how to channel it correctly, it will take away all of your power and all of your energy with it. Fear is like a really toxic relationship that if you work through, you could create a healthy relationship with it. You know, you can channel and digest fear into something else. Like, for example, if you let fear guide you and you don't hold fear by the hand, but you let it drag you, fear can turn into paralysis. And you don't want that. Because if you're scared and you stop, you're not acting, you're not doing anything, you're just there. And when fear channels itself and metabolizes itself into a motor, into determination, into, just a compass, you're able to live your life in a more, in a flow. And this is something I talked about in my last video, which is how to get in the flow state and what is the flow state. But anyways, starting off, fear. She is her own thing. But we're gonna start with the fear of not being enough. Some call it the imposter syndrome. I'll call it just the fear of not being enough for now. Imposter syndrome, for those who don't know, but it's a really big term. It has been a really big buzzword around the internet in the past few years. But imposter syndrome is literally feeling like an imposter in any medium that you're good at or you're working or in your industry, in your anything that you're doing. You feel like you're not enough to be there and that you don't deserve to be there, that you're there because it's luck or coincidence and that you don't actually deserve your merits. And this can be really dangerous fear if you don't snap out of it early enough. However, this fear is something that sticks with the majority, if not all, artists in the world. Art is really subjective. It is open to criticism from someone who is an expert to someone who doesn't know anything about it. And artists believe that any words that are coming to them are worthy of being evaluated. And that's really dangerous because when someone who doesn't know about what you're doing comments on it so confidently, one believes it. Because when those words match the critic that's inside, they're doomed. You're doomed. There's nothing scarier than listening to your negative thoughts out loud, especially coming from another source that's not yourself. It's like validating in the worst way possible. We usually, like, as humans, we could see a white wall and everything could be clean white, but if there's one little black dot, we're doomed, and we're just gonna stick our eyes into that black dot. That's the only thing we're gonna notice. We're not gonna even think about how white and how clean everything around it is and how clean and pristine the wall is. We're just gonna focus all of our energy and attention into that little black dot that I want to clean and make. Like, we never focus in the positives and in our merits and everything that has brought us to where we are, whether it's in art, it's in corporate, it's in finance, whatever it is. A lot of people struggle with this fear because we give our critic inside a megaphone and we just listen to whatever it says because it makes sense, because they're objective. They're like, of course you don't deserve to be here. Like, you're just lucky. It's like right place, right time. I was just there and they got me. It's like, yes and no. It's right place, right time, and right person. Because I can lie and say that I'm this and this and that, and I can be really confident when I say it, and then the moment it comes to doing this thing and I'm actually not good at it, it doesn't mean that they're gonna hire me just because I have the other qualities and not the merits and the talent itself, Like, imagine I've been playing the piano since I was 8, but I stopped playing a while ago. And I have some songs that I remember. And imagine I go up to someone, I'm like, yeah, I play the piano, and then I play one song confidently, and they're like, yeah, nice. And then I start saying, like, yeah, I play the piano, whatever. Even though maybe this person was needing a pianist, and then they see that I only play a song. I was at the right place at the right time with someone wanting a pianist, but I don't have the merits to get that role. And then someone else steps in and they get the role, whether or not they're nicer or they're not as nice as me or whatever you want to say. Like, it does not have to do with being in the right place, right time, because if it were like that, anyone would get anything in this job market. And it's not like that. It's the most competitive job market we've seen. There's so much competitiveness. With all this being said, if you're going through this or you have these thoughts, and what you would ask myself and what I would invite you to ask yourself is, what brought you to where you are right now? Was it just right place, right times all the time? I don't think so. I don't think there's coincidences. What did you do to be exactly where you have to be? Where you are right now? Did you just say hi and you convinced people that you were good at something? Or did they also believe it because they saw your work? It's like someone is not going to blindly trust you if they don't trust your work, if they don't have anything to speak for it, if you don't have anything to speak for it. It's your own merit. And I've heard people around me that just believe, they're like, no, it's just luck. And when they mess up, they base all of their merit and all of their journeys into that mistake, and they beat themselves up, and they're like, yeah, if I beat myself up and I just practice out of that intention, out of just like, I'm doing things bad, I need to be better, I'm gonna practice, I'm gonna study to be better, you're beating yourself up. The intention of getting better is not coming from a place of self-love and understanding of, hey, I'm aware I'm not exactly where I want to be. I'm aware that I don't have the abilities that I would like to have at a certain point in my life. I'm aware that I can get better, but I'm also aware that I've done the work, the hard work to be exactly where I am, and I'm gonna keep getting better, and that this mistake does not portray my journey and my abilities. This mistake happened for me to learn, for me to get better, for me to see that if I just keep going up and no bumps, it's just gonna become a monotonous wave of beautiful things, and I'm just gonna be numb by the end. One needs to have those mistakes in order to stop and think about where you are. And not because that mistake tells you that you're a failure and you're mediocre just because you made that mistake. It's just to make you stop and think like, hey, maybe I'm not having the right mindset when it comes to this, or maybe I can adjust this, or maybe I can try this new thing. And it's a moment to stop. It's a moment to reflect. It's not a moment to beat yourself down. Everyone's journeys are a marathon. They're marathons. No one is in a race. If everyone were in a race, literally no one will have opportunities. This is a marathon. In marathons, everyone wins something. A marathon is an abundant type of race. Life is not a race, it's a marathon. Everyone can get to the finish line accomplishing their own goals at their own times. Imagine if you fall. You're in the marathon, you're running, and you know you're like really slow, but you know you're gonna do it. And no one knows your conditions, your capabilities, your stories. And you don't know the rest, but you know your journey and what this means to you and what getting to that finish line means to you. Imagine I trip. Imagine you trip. And suddenly you're like, oh, fuck. It hurts. There's two things I can do. Am I just gonna lay there and start bunching my legs again? Why did you fall? Why did you fall? Why did you fall? Why did you fall? And then just keep punching yourself until it gets harder and harder to get up. And then you see the finish line further and further away because you've been punching yourself, because you've been beating yourself up. Or are you going to quickly stand up as quick as you can and say, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to take it slow right now, and then I'm going to boost, and then I'm going to catch up. But I'm going to be fine. It happens. Everyone can fall, and it matters how I stand up, not how I fell. And I feel like that's the way you should go about any moments that you feel like you're not enough or that you made mistakes in your career or in your life. It's not necessarily about letting the fall or letting that mistake tell you who you are and where you're at. It's about learning how to redirect yourself from it, or what lesson can you take from it. And instead of asking yourself, why me? Why does this happen to me? Ask yourself, okay, what now? What do I do now with this? What do I ask myself? Why did I make this mistake? Is it because I'm incompetent and I'm mediocre and I deserve to fail? No, that's not realistic. And you gotta remember, realism is not the same as cynicism. It is not. Think. Does all of your merits and all of your history will just conclude in a mistake and make you feel like you're just mediocre and you're not where everyone is and you are, and no one makes mistakes? Of course not. If you say that out loud, it even sounds stupid, but there's some people that say like, hey, The biggest people I admire and like the artists I admire or the whatever, they never make mistakes. They're always doing everything right. They're always at 100%. That is the biggest lie you can tell anyone or even tell yourself. It's not that they don't make mistakes in your face. It's not that they don't make mistakes out loud. It's that they don't let them show you. They don't let themselves show you when they make mistakes. Because they fall and immediately they get up without you even realizing. Let's say someone is a guitar player and their riff didn't come out as they wanted, but instead they missed a note, they kept playing and no one even noticed because the passion was exuding from that person. It's like a singer, like they can fall and then keep dancing and people will applaud how they stand up. People will talk about the artist if they fell and they just walked out or they just stayed on the floor, you know? But if you stand up, that says a lot about someone. And that's how you go about life. How do you beat the fear of not being enough? You realize that your mistakes or the mishaps in life are just lessons, gates opened for lessons, and that they're just checkpoints for you, either to redirect, either to better yourself, either to test yourself and see where you're at. Because if you're not able to stand after you fall, you're not training hard enough. And I don't mean like practicing and working. I mean in yourself. You're lacking the confidence to keep going. You're lacking hope in yourself. You're lacking self-respect. And if it's bothering you, it's because you needed to hear it. And I've been telling this to myself too. This is not just me like, like shit that I needed. These videos are ultimately like me talking to myself. I don't know better. I just say what I feel. Anyways, second fear, the fear of being perceived. Oh, this one is one that, believe it or not, haunts me. I was always a control freak. I was always a perfectionist. I was always scared of not being able to control other people's perceptions of me. And what I would do is either create fake scenarios in my head about other people to protect myself or just hide. And that didn't end up doing anything for me. The way we do it is we judge ourselves through other people out of protection, out of a defense mechanism. For example, let's say I kind of like, I make a mistake in front of people. And immediately I'm like, fuck, everyone noticed. Imagine no one noticed. But I think everyone noticed and everyone is thinking of something about me and everyone is saying something about me. And now everyone in my head has negative thoughts about me. In my head, everyone around me has negative thoughts about me. That's my reality that I created. And I'm like, oh, now I have a grudge with everyone because everyone thinks I am stupid. Everyone thinks that don't know what I'm doing. Did someone ever say anything to you in that regard? No. Did I make up that fantasy in my head? Yeah. Ultimately, we're judging ourselves through other people. We don't even know what they're thinking of us. They probably don't even think of us. They probably didn't even notice. But since you're so in your head, you've projected this image into everyone. Now everyone has your judgmental face plastered on them. And you think that everyone's judging you back. No one is. It's always important to take a step back and kind of take a break from your ego. And think about, hey, maybe you're not as important to other people as you think you are. Maybe they don't care enough. And if they think something, they're judging themselves through you. It's all a projection. Like, no one can get to you. No one can get to your head if you don't let it. Imagine this is a Buddhist. I don't know where I saw this video. There's a Buddhist lesson. I don't know. I think I saw it like 3 a.m. in an Instagram reel. I don't know. But basically, there's this Buddhist monk um teaching people how to like meditate in a field, whatever. And then this heckler comes and he's like, "Oh, you're the worst," blah, 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 yelling a bunch of really mean things. And the Buddhist monk, Buddhist monk just keeps doing his thing, like guiding the meditation, whatever. And then he's like, "Hey, I've been here for like 30 minutes saying really mean shit. Like, why don't you pay attention to me?" And he's like, "Because the moment I allow your thoughts to come to me, they become mine. Imagine you have mail to give to me and I didn't receive it. Who keeps the mail? You or me?" Me. Exactly. Same with negative thoughts, same with any type of thoughts. You can stay with those. You can sink in your own floods of negativity, in your own mail. But I won't. I would rather stay out of it and protect what's mine and not receive what I want to receive, what I want to receive. I think I butchered that explanation, but I hope you get it. Which basically means you're entitled to choose what gets to you and what doesn't. Ultimately, it's out of your own self-esteem. You can let people get to you or not. You can choose who you respect enough for their criticism to actually get to you or not. There's people that, again, people will meet you exactly where they've met themselves. People will meet you exactly where they've met themselves. If someone's immature, they'll treat you immaturely. They'll treat you poorly. If you're mature and someone is being immature, they literally will look like a child to you. If someone's doing a tantrum and speaking really, really negative, mean things towards you, you can decide to act like a parent and just be like, okay, like the child is doing a tantrum. Now I'm just going to watch. Are you done? Or you're going to be a child and be like, no, yeah. You choose. I think you beat the fear of being perceived when you realize that everything is a projection and that you, at the end of the day, make up your perceptions of everyone in your head. I can go by my life being delusional, thinking that everyone likes me. It's not true until someone proves me wrong, and then I'll be like, okay, I guess, bye. Or I can go by my life thinking that everyone hates me. It's not true. But when someone proves me wrong, no, that can't be. I'm being deceived. I don't trust anyone. Any extreme is not good, but you choose in the way you balance those. You choose whether you want to be cautious and know that everyone is fine in a distance unless proven otherwise, or you are more cautious in who you trust. But also, don't go out and project your insecurities onto other people thinking that they're thinking what you're thinking of yourself, because you're not as important to other people as you think you are, in a good way. What I mean is your struggles and your problems and your little things are not as important to other people as you think. Maybe they're not even noticing. And if they do, they don't have anything better to do. They don't have a life of their own that they can like focus on and worry about. And that's ultimately a projection as well of envy. Fear of being perceived haunts me because I judge myself through other people a lot because of the culture I grew up in. And that's why I started making videos. That's why I started doing things that scare me and I'm still fighting with. I still need to try things that I'm scared of. That kind of correlates to my fear of people judging me. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm like, people can't have that much power over me. I'm letting people that I don't even know have power over me. Huh? Are you kidding me? No. Next, fear of change. Fear of change comes with a lot. It's the fear of the unknown. Fear of letting go of what feels safe. But let me tell you something. Safety is an expensive state. At the cost of safety, you lose growth. You lose lessons. You don't learn and you don't grow in comfort. And if you don't grow and you don't grow taller and bigger and stronger and better, the view will never get better. You'll never climb. Sometimes being safe feels like the right thing because it feels right. But sometimes you gotta understand the difference between something that feels right because it's safe or something that feels right and a little scary because you know growth is gonna come from there. That's something I always push for. Everyone around me, when they come with like decisions or they want advice, I say shit straight to their face. I say it as it is. Not out of like pushing people, out of being insensitive, but because I love them and I want them to grow. And if I have to be clear and direct and push them towards the side of change and growth, I will. No one will throw shit at themselves in front of me. No one will stay safe in front of me. If you stay safe and you don't do the things that scare you, you won't be beating those fears and gaining those lessons that you need to. People usually just like to put band-aid over band-aid over band-aid because it's safe, right? You don't want to actually put the medicine that scares you on top of it because you're afraid it might sting. But what if it doesn't sting? What if you put the pumice? That's not right. That's a rock. La pomisa? What the hell am I talking about? I like mixed three languages. What if I put the ointment on my cut and then it doesn't sting and it actually heals pretty fast? What if? But I would never know because I'm putting band-aids on because I'm scared of it stinging. It's a Schrodinger's cat effect. You will never know until you open the box if the cat is alive or dead. You will never know if you'll succeed doing something if you don't try it. What if you fail? That's for later. We're going to go into the fear of failure. What if you fail? Fear of failure. This one's big. This one's a big one for me because it's the one that stopped me the most. Recently, I'm still on the artist way. I've been reading it, I've been doing it. It's been hard, but it's been worth it. A lot of the things I learn and spark my thoughts come from there. And I will always credit that book for the rest of my time because that book really, really impacted me. But the fear of failure, that's the fear that has me on a leash. I'm just always scared that I'll make a mistake out loud, that I'll fail out loud, that someone will see me make a mistake and I will see myself make a mistake and I'll go back all the way to the fear of not being enough and I'll go through all the fears again. I always have this fear of trying something new that I've been really, really wanting to try and sucking at it to the point that I'm like, then now what? Maybe I'm actually trash at everything that I try. And then I give up. I give it up. And then, right in that moment where I've been considering new avenues of mediums and art forms that I've been wanting to try, I stopped myself right at the brink of trying them because I'm like, what if I'm suck at it? What if I fail and I disappoint myself? What if I'm actually not worth it? What if I'm actually not good enough? What if nothing changes? What if something changes? What if people see me as a mediocre person, as a joke? All these fears start sparking right in front of me. And at the brink of asking all those questions again and again and again and just being paralyzed, letting my fear be metabolized into paralysis instead of action, what do I see? A light. And what does that light ask? What is that light? The light asks, what would you do if you didn't have to do it perfectly? What things would you do if you didn't have to do them perfectly? I read that in the book. And when I said that question again and again and again, I realized I would be doing so much. I was putting so much pressure. And for what? Who said that anything new has to be perfect? That's literally impossible. Unless I'm like I have an innate talent that I just was born with, and I'm 25. I wasn't born yesterday. Like, of course I'm not going to be good at something I try for the first time. But then again, I ask myself, why do I selectively choose and pick and choose fear? Because when it comes to love, when it comes to friendships, especially love, I'm not scared to throw myself into it. And I realized, why when it's my own things? Why when it's my work? I feel so afraid of doing it. I feel so afraid of committing. I feel so afraid of trying, of changing, of new things, of adapting. Why do I feel scared? And then I told myself, I should be as courageous in creating, as courageous as I am in love. Because personally, I love really easily, and not because it's easy, but because I'm not scared and I don't put any expectations on any type of love or relationship or friendship or anything that I have around me. I just grow and learn with it. Because love is the most courageous act you can do. But also, love is an art. And art is love. It's a love for yourself and for the world and for others. And I told myself, I need to jump into creating and making art as courageously as I do when I jump into love. And I realized there's so many things that I would do if I didn't have to do them perfectly, because there's nothing else in my life that I put such pressures on. I don't put myself pressure to be perfect all the time. I used to. Now I'm like, it's impossible and exhausting, and I'm getting better at not putting that pressure on myself, but it's still there. But in love, like, I know I'm not going to be perfect, and I'm willing to not be perfect, and I'm willing to learn and be better as I go. Because as I go, I learn and I grow. But why don't I apply that to when I work or when I create? I would do so much if I didn't do it perfectly. I would try finally exploring music. I would go back to dancing. I would paint a canvas again. I would act. I would write. I would write poetry. I would make videos. I would make music videos. I would make films. I would do so much. And I don't because I'm scared. But what am I scared of? What is that fear that I'm missing? What is that fear that's there and I don't know what to pinpoint because it doesn't make sense? That is called the fear of potential, which is our fifth fear. The fear of potential is a fear that we rarely talk about because people don't believe it's true. How can you be afraid of something good? Well, it literally derives from intimidation from yourself. You're afraid to know where you can end up. And that can be intimidating. And immediately you want out. Immediately you're like, I know I can't do that. I will not be able to handle it. No, I don't know. You haven't even put the eggs in the batter and you're already thinking about how you're gonna mount and ice the cake. One step at a time. You're scared of getting to know that version of yourself that you don't think you can handle because it could be too powerful. You're scared of that potential. You're scared of how far you can go and how much you can change, and that fear of possibly not being enough when you get there. That fear of being perceived by others. That fear of failing in the way to your potential. The fear of potential is the final fear because it already englobes all of those past fears. That failure, the fear of failure already englobes, but even bigger. Because you've passed failure to oversee a fear of the future. A fear is something good. And I ask myself, why am I seeing the ends of things without even trying the means? Why am I putting myself such in the future that I'm not even savoring the present? There's so much to do and to live and to try and to learn that I'm not going to give my chance to go through just because I'm scared of an outcome that still does not exist or will never exist. Sometimes we believe that we have the best plans for ourselves. But honestly, life happens. You don't control what happens in your life. You just control how you react. We've talked about this already. But I feel like there's a sweet spot when you get to accept yourself and understand yourself in a really nurturing way, where you know your strengths and you accept your weaknesses and you don't beat yourself up for those, but you understand who you are and you're real enough to be able to understand what you need to grow, and you don't just focus on your wants. Rather, when you start getting to know yourself so well and accepting your goods and your bads, your wants start aligning perfectly with your needs. And this is a metaphor that I talked about in also one of my last videos, which was the mangoes versus oranges metaphor. Which sometimes you might ask, you're like, I'm so thirsty and I'm so hungry. This is an example. This is a analogy. I'm so thirsty and I'm so hungry, and I know I need something that satiates both, because I know that I'm already eating, but I know that I'm still thirsty and I still need something. And I understand that I can't eat a whole meal right now because I just ate and I'm quite famished, but not as much. So what do I need? What do I want? Some people, when it comes to that, they don't even draw those measures. They don't even compare. They don't even analyze what they're asking for, what they want, or what they need. They immediately go, no, I don't care if I ate so much. I'm going to have a whole chocolate cake because maybe that will quench my thirst and maybe that will make me feel better after eating. Like, that's someone who's just asking for what they want, but they don't understand what they need. That's someone who doesn't know who they are. That's someone who hasn't taken the time to understand their needs. They're just going about life blindly through their wants. And that's usually when you confuse impulse with intuition. But for example, let's say I take the time to ask myself, okay, I understand I'm a little hungry, but I ate. I understand I'm also a little thirsty. What falls in that? A fruit. And there I tell you, I'm like, now I understand that what I want is something sweet, but it's not a chocolate cake. It's a fruit. Are you following? And now I ask to the creator, to the gods, to life, I'm like, okay, can you send me a fruit? I'm going to be more specific. Send me an orange. Yeah, I think an orange will do it for me because oranges actually like, so they're going to satiate me. They're going to make me less thirsty. And I mean, maybe they're not as big as I want, but that's fine. Like, I think oranges is exactly what I want. Give me an orange, give me an orange, give me an orange, give me an orange. But then, life doesn't give you an orange. They give you a mango. And you're like, a mango? What am I supposed to... Oh, shit. Mangoes. I didn't even think about mangoes. Mangoes are lit. Mangoes exactly what I want, and I didn't even know that. Thank you. I kind of like mangoes way better than oranges. I thought I liked oranges, but mangoes are perfect for this thirst and hunger that I'm feeling. And in that analogy that I hope you understood, what I mean is when you take the time to understand yourself enough to really narrow down and pinpoint exactly what you need in life and what you want, and you try to match those as best as you can with the best knowledge of yourself that you can, life will throw you that. And then you'll be satisfied because the closer you are to meeting your wants and your needs at its peak and they align, the happier you'll be. How do you do that? When whatever life gives you, instead of being like, no, I don't want mangoes. No, I don't want mangoes. No, I don't want mangoes. And you lose the mangoes, you'll never get oranges. But when life throws you mangoes and you accept them, you're like, hey, I'm going to try. And you're grateful and you appreciate it. You'll later understand that what you needed and what you wanted was always mangoes. But you were blocked by that stubbornness of wanting to control what you intake and what you receive. When you don't control what you receive, you control how you take it. And I believe the better you get at understanding yourself, the better it will be. Because you'll start narrowing down and filing exactly what you want and what you need, and those become one thing. Your wants and needs become one, and what you need is exactly what you want, and vice versa. And you're going to get everything that you want. And it's not that the life or the universe or God has favorites. It's just people that understand exactly where they are, what they need, and what they want. And they're grateful and they appreciate what's coming to their path. And those who ask, but those who appreciate will receive twice as much. And I feel like you lose any type of fear, not lose it, because fear is always there. But the best way to hold fear by the hand and keep walking forward is when you start appreciating and being grateful for any mango that's thrown your way. Even if you wanted oranges, you don't do tantrums. You don't complain. You don't feel scared, or you don't try to follow what fear says. You're like, okay, I'm aware that this feels right, but I'm a little scared to try the mango. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really a little scared. Usually, where there's a little bit of fear, that's the right path, because that's where growth lives. Ultimately, fear will never leave. You'll never beat fear, but you know how to play with fear. You know how to walk next to it. You know how to feel like you're enough, how to respond to that when the fear of not being enough shows up. You know how to change your mind and how to quickly enter reality when fear of being perceived shows up. You know how to open your arms when fear of change visits you. You understand the effects and the ends of things when fear of failure knocks on your door. You understand what path to go to. And ultimately, you close your eyes and you don't listen to the fear of potential when it wants to explode in front of you, when it's running and gushing towards you. You let yourself just live and let fears live around you. But you make peace with all of them in a way that they benefit you. And you understand that the more you get to know yourself, the better life will pass through you, the easier it would flow, and the better you indulge in the fruits that life gives you. Whether they're mangoes or not, whether they're oranges or not, or whether once they give you a chocolate cake and then you move forward. I hope this served of anything. I hope you know I've been also struggling a lot with fear and that you're not alone. And in this world that is full of possibility and is scary, it's a world of abundance where there's an infinite amount of mangoes for you. And that if you ask, those mangoes will come. But the work needs to be done. And by that, I mean appreciating and being grateful and walking earth in a positive note of abundance. Knowing that if someone succeeds, that just means you will too. And that fears sometimes are irrational, even when they feel like it's the end of the world. So ask yourself, what things would you do if you didn't have to do them perfectly? Love you guys. Live and be kind. And thank you so much for listening and watching. And thank you for being here. You really helped me lose my fears one video at a time. Ciao.